So I love this. This is like a living Sarah McLachlan scrapbook. You were on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
I was, yeah, that was pretty thrilling.
And this headline, is this about you, flower child with a filthy mind?
Apparently, yeah.
And are you?
Flower child? I'm pretty granola. I would not say I have a filthy mind. Maybe I have a bit of a dirty mouth, a potty mouth, but I've tried to, keep that in check because I've tempered that somewhat as I've gotten older.
Excellent.
At 57, Sarah McLachlan is comfortable looking back, but there's still a lot ahead. We talked about her new album, an upcoming documentary about Lilith Fair, and on a candid personal note, her challenges as a parent.
I had to eat a lot of humble pie and figure out how to change the way I was reacting to her, parenting her, talking to her.
We met at the Sarah McLachlan School of Music in Vancouver.
Sarah, it's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with you.
Thank you.
A few months ago, you posted on Instagram that you had lost your voice. You had to abruptly end your tour. A lot of people were really worried. How are you doing now?
And bummed out, yeah, including myself. I'm great now. It was a really kind of a scary winter because I had just finished my record, at least all the vocals for it, and I had gone out in the spring doing the Fumbling Towards Ecstasy 30th anniversary tour. I kind of blew my voice doing rehearsals, and then ended up having to take steroids the entire time, and those steroids often put you in a false sense of security, so I kept pushing through, and then I thought I was okay. I took the summer off to recuperate and then went back out in the fall to the Canadian leg and got a vicious virus like 2 days in, and it just knocked me out and lost my voice completely and had to cancel the whole tour, which was a real drag. And I went in to my ENT and she's like, yeah, you've done some damage. So you need to go on vocal rest, no talking for 3 months, and then we'll reassess. And so it might be 6 months. And so I kind of went through the whole winter unsure of whether I'd be able to sing again. And I so love this new record. And also beyond that, it's kind of how strongly how I identify my purpose on this earth.
Yes.
So to think that, okay, I might be done. I might not be able to sing anymore. I might have really messed things up.
It was that bad?
It was that bad, yeah. Anyway, everything worked out really well, and I got a clean bill of health, and I've just been doing vocal rehab, and so far so good.
And there's this new documentary that's out now. 26 years since Lilith Fair ended. 26 years.
That's crazy.
Singer Sarah McLachlan has launched an all-female tour.
This was the first time you'd seen anything like it.
Finding out that all of my favorite artists had played at this event.
As you look back, what do you think or hope the impact of Lilith Fair has been?
Well, I know some of the impact. I mean, I put all the money that I made from Lilith into a foundation, which started this music school, which is now we're 24 years in. So that's a tangible legacy of Lilith. Over the years, I've had so many young women and young men for that reason, come up to me and say, I was there, it changed me, you all showed me that I could do and be anything I wanted to be, and particularly women. But also young men saying, I felt, young gay men, I felt safe for the first time being out in a concert environment. And so I think, the ripples of that, the ripples within our community as artists, I think that's really shifted. I think we forcibly shifted and changed attitudes within the music industry. We proved that you can play women back to back on the radio, you can put more than 2 women on the stage. Oh, people will actually come. They won't be horrified and run the other direction.
And that message comes through very clearly in the documentary. You get this sense, first of all, of safety, as you describe it in the documentary, and you do now, but also of camaraderie among the musicians, and the performances at the end of the concert, the harmonies, just the joy. It looked joyful. Did it feel joyful?
Well, those were some of the best parts of the entire thing. Yeah, for me to be able to bring together all these artists and say, let's all join together on stage and sing a celebratory song together to just, put a pin on at the end of this beautiful night. Yeah, those are some really joyful moments, punctuated by, sheer terror and overwhelm during the day. So it was this, you know, emotional whiplash that was happening all the time.
Let's not gloss over something that's in the documentary and you just said, because it is extraordinary. There were radio stations that would not play 2 women in a row. They wouldn't play records.
None of the radio stations would play, not some, none of.
I mean, and we're only talking about like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Now we're living in Taylor Swift's world, where she is the biggest star with no asterisk. What do you think of the state of women in music in 2025?
I think music in general is, you know, it's more inclusive, it's more welcoming, and if we had a part in that, I'm really happy, and I'm so proud of Taylor Swift and everything she's accomplished. You know, she has women open up for her all the time. Other artists, Brandi Carlile is championing women. Like, if you look at the charts now, they are dominated by women. So it's a fantastic thing to see.
Let's talk about your new album, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
And there are a couple of videos out there already, and one of them, Better Broken.
So don't come back to me begging, why'd you leave? Tell me why. How could you let this go? Let it be all it is, small and still, a memory like a stone, a jagged edge made smooth by time.
As I listen to this new album, I wonder, at this stage in your life, are you thinking to yourself, this has got to be big, I want this to be a hit? Or are you, yeah, like I felt like you're at a stage where you can say, I'm going to write and perform and put this out in the world and let it have the impact that it has.
Absolutely, and I will say that I've been incredibly lucky in my career that I have kind of always got to do that.
My walls are getting wider and my eyes are drawn astray. See you now, a vague deception of a dying day. Oh,
a little bit less right at the beginning. There was definitely pressure to put out, you know, radio hits, but I've been very lucky not to be A&R'd and been given the artistic freedom to figure out who I am through my music and kind of just follow that muse, which is an amazing gift. And with this record, I did feel that similar freedom. But I always also put a ton of pressure on myself of, this has to be really good. It came with this trepidation of being gone from the industry for a long time, and also, what do I have to say as a 57-year-old woman of privilege? You know, like, okay, where's my place in this world right now? What do I need to say? And so that was kind of nerve-wracking to figure out that, but as we started making the record, things just kind of, they develop and they become clearer. So there was never sort of a pre-existing idea of what this was supposed to sound like. To me, it's always about the journey and the exploration and getting together a crew of people who are incredibly creative and will bring their own unique voices to the project. And that's the funnest part.
I don't understand where the music industry is now, the mechanical kind of business part of it. And
yeah, me neither.
So
that's baffling.
I'm a little older than you, but when we were in our 20s, let's say, I worked at a radio station in Halifax, and I know that artists would release a single, would play it on the radio, you go to the record store a month later and buy it, you know, you go on a few talk shows and promote it. Now we're in this world of streaming. I don't know if radio matters. Like, how do you navigate this world?
I don't, you know, I'm just sort of stepping back into it. So I'm figuring out as we go. I know that social media plays a massive role now, and there's so many different platforms. And it used to be that you needed to go away for a while, you know, and sort of lay low. And now it's like you can't feed people enough information because there is so much music and so much noise all the time that you have to figure out a way to rise above it and remind people constantly that, hey, I'm here now, hey, this music is here now, because music is flowing like water, it's streaming. And I mean, at the beginning of it, it felt like, oh, it's kind of nameless and soulless. People don't know the artist anymore because they don't have that physical CD or LP to look through and see all the different pictures and figure out who they are. But on the other hand, social media is kind of fantastic because it's really allowing as much as the artist is willing to, a window into their world. And when I talk to my daughter, she's telling me about an artist she loves. She already knows who the producers are, who the musicians are on it, you know, where they live, what their interests are. So they're almost getting to know us as artists better than in the old way, if they're interested.
And you can send that out unfiltered, right? You don't have to call
you can control
publicist.
you can control the narrative to a certain degree. It's like, and yes, I have control as to how much I feed the beast. You know, and that's something that I've had to come to terms with and get comfortable with, because I'm quite private in my life, even though my music is, I'm an open book in some way, but on the other hand, I like to be able to turn it off and just be a normal person who goes to the grocery store and can go about my day-to-day without, you know, people freaking out, which I have to say, you know, being in Canada, being in Vancouver, people are chill.
It's been a long year, so much has happened that we both wish hadn't. When the snow falls, be it real or full, all the past will disappear with all the problems. Leave your baggage by the door.
Let's talk a little bit about this music school. And so you said that the proceeds, your proceeds from Lilith Fair, are what funds this school and the other school projects?
Well, a certain amount of the money that I made, I put into a foundation, and then as I was deciding what to do, a lot of the public schools were shutting down their music programs, so that kind of became an obvious focus for me, and ended up using that money to start to seed this this project, which started out as 200 kids, and then it's just grown.
I was just thinking, one time one of my kids changed piano teachers, and the new teacher asked my son, what do you hope for in learning how to play the piano? And he was young at that point, didn't really have an answer, and she goes, here's what I hope for. I hope you play for the rest of your life for fun. And I thought, what a great thing to say. What a perfect thing to say. When you're looking at these talented young students here, what do you hope for them?
I hope that they come away from this program with some skill, which they will, but perhaps more importantly, the social emotional growth is the thing that I'm most excited about, the community that's built, the resilience and teamwork, and being part of something bigger than yourself, the vulnerability and the openness it takes to work with your peers, especially like in songwriting or learning any kind of instrument, any kind of learning where you have to be open and you have to kind of put yourself out there. That's scary. And to do that in an environment that is really safe and loving and nurturing is kind of amazing. I grew up in the Royal Conservatory system, which was all competition. Right? You competed at the Kiwanis Music Festival, you did exams at the end of the year, your recitals, everybody's kind of just glaring at you, waiting for you to get out of there so their kid can go up and shine. And I never liked that, the rigors of it and the strictness of it, and wanted to create a program that was way more fluid and giving kids, like your teacher said to your child, giving them some agency and saying, what do you want to get out of this? What are you interested in? And having kids having them, you know, they're asked that, they have way more, you know, buy into the program, and they get to learn things that they're interested in. And so you engage them at their level, you keep them engaged. Like, we have an amazing retention rate. So there are so many pluses, so many benefits from, you know, that we already know about music education, and this particular community that we've built is incredibly loving and caring. Like, I see young girls coming up on stage, you know, to do a solo, terrified, crying, running off stage. Other girls go backstage, take her by the hand and say, come on, we're gonna do this together. And that to me is success, especially young girls, because I grew up, as I said, with that Royal Conservatory system, making music in isolation. And this is all about community.
I'm thinking back to a few of the scenes in the documentary where you talk about, and I don't know how sensitive or not sensitive this is, you talk about how your mother did not support your music, you know?
Well, she supported my music in the sense that they gave me private music lessons, but I think for her, the idea that I might actually go and do something like that for a profession was utterly terrifying. and made no sense to her either. So no, she did not support that. She's like, you'll fail. Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself in that position? That's terrifying. But because she couldn't see past her own life and how she had so many things that she wanted to do, but she was afraid to. And I think she lived with a ton of resentment and kind of anger because of that. And I think, so she was doing a lot of projecting. I didn't understand it at the time, but you know, as I got older and wiser, somehow it started to make a little more sense.
We're both parents, and being a parent's so tough, and who knows what shapes us as parents, but I think our parents do to an extent, right?
Like it or not.
Yeah, well, we try to copy what the good things are, and we try to avoid what we think the bad things are. How has what your mother said to you about music kind of affected the way you are as a parent?
Well, I thought I was doing the polar opposite of everything my mother was doing, but it turns out, you know, sometimes words will slip out of your mouth, and you think, you know, I promised I would never ever say that to my child. And so, yes, the patterns are very ingrained. You know, one of the things that my mom said to me that was actually really solid and smart was, do not ever be financially dependent on a man. And I took that to heart. But I think, yeah, I really just tried to do the opposite. You know, I tried to be I am by nature really loving and affectionate, giving my kids a lot of freedom to figure out who they were and nurturing that and being super supportive of whatever it was. So I think I took that piece of it that, you know, she loved that I was interested in art and music and wanted to nurture that piece. But, you know, I'm like, going off to university. It's like, if you don't want to go to university, if that's not your jam, that's okay. I want you to figure out who you are. And so that's always been the way I've parented my kids.
And so far, so good? So
far, so good, yeah. My firstborn and I were kind of like oil and water, and we had a tumultuous relationship growing up, but we went to family systems counseling. It doesn't have to be a long story, but when she was about 19, and that saved both of us, and it saved our relationship. Yeah, it was amazing. Just a complete seismic shift in how I communicate with her.
But not only is it nice of you and impressive that you would be candid about that, I'm sure like people would think, Sarah McLachlan, like the empathetic, sort of listen to your music.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's,
I'm a hard ass as a parent though.
Like I can't, you know, I'm trying to square that person I've seen on stage and with having to like get help to deal with your daughter.
I'm super loving and I'm super open, but I was also a hard ass. Yeah. And the way I tried to enforce that to get my youngest daughter to be self-reliant and to push through hard things, it just shut her down. And it made her feel not safe with me. I mean, and that's an awful thing to admit to, and I'm okay with it now, but it was a really hard thing to come to terms with, and this is part of what happened in counseling, what, you know, peeling back all the layers of the onion, where it's like, she had a really hard time at her first year in university during COVID, and she came back a mess, and I couldn't help her. She would not open up to me. Wow. And I'm like, I'm your mother, how could you not open? I've got your back more than anybody else, but she did not feel that way. So I had to eat a lot of humble pie and figure out how to change the way I was reacting to her, parenting her, talking to her, so that she would trust that I was safe. And you know, the counseling did that. It was hard work, but you know, she's my baby, and you want more than anything for your baby to thrive and to be happy and to be successful in life. So I was like, I'll do anything.
And some of this is captured in at least one of the songs on your album.
Yeah, Gravity is kind of all about that. It's sort of in the midst of it when it's that fear as a parent when you see your kids suffering and you don't know how to help them. It's a terrifying position to be in. You just want your kid to be okay.
It's hard the way you look at me with a rage I cannot place. But I'm not the enemy, I'll carry you through your pain.
Let's finish this with a couple of things about your career and about music. One is, in 1990, young Sarah McLachlan was interviewed on a CBC show in Toronto, Video Hits, I think it was called, and I'm going to read you a quote. So this is you. I want to have control over every aspect of my career
because the music is the whole, and then there's all these other things that fit around with it that make it, you know, even more complete, like the videos and the album cover. It's my music, it's my concept, and it's my life, and I want everything to be just perfect.
So that's you.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So
not much has changed.
Well, I mean, like, what a gutsy thing for a person that young, starting out in the industry, to say publicly. I just wonder, did you achieve that?
Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. I think because I didn't know any better. I was so green and naive about the reality of the music industry and how most artists are, you know, put into a box and said, well, you have to do this or you have to do that. I was given 100% creative control right from the get-go. And I had no idea how unheard of that was.
Your arms waiting all the time we decide.
But how did that happen? I mean, in an industry, we talked earlier about how women in particular, but I think a lot of young people in the industry back then would have been diminished or controlled or constrained. How did you end up getting that freedom?
I think it was just luck and getting to work with some very young men in the music industry who weren't sexist at all and were just, all of us were all about the music.
Let me finish with this. It's clear watching the Lilith Fair documentary that you were driven by this goal of elevating the place and respecting the place of women in music. It is clear in what you said in 1990 on Video Hits that you had a very clear sense in your own career of what you wanted to achieve. Those were the things, I think, that drove you in the 90s and the 2000s. It's 2025 now. What drives you now?
Musically, very similar things, but you know, in a more sort of a holistic view, I love this school so much. I love the fact that we get to provide a solid music education and great mentorship to a lot of youth and children here in Vancouver and Edmonton and New Westminster. I love using my platform for good. It makes me feel purposeful. You know, it makes me feel like all the things, all the gifts that I've been given, all these amazing opportunities as an artist to live this incredible life that I've got to live, I want to do something meaningful with that energy and continue to pay it forward. And, you know, building out these schools and helping kids find their voice and find their sense of self-worth and autonomy through music is really powerful. So that's the most exciting thing for me.
Well, you're an immense talent and you're a really impressive person, and we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.